Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for coming to this Twilight meeting. Very exciting doing a Twilight meeting online. So I'm Mary Choate at UNH Extension, as Heather introduced me. I work in food safety, and Heather asked me to talk about Listeria monocytogenes, which is the big concern in coolers, and you'll learn why as we go through the presentation. So how to lower the risk of Listeria monocytogenes contamination in your walk-in cooler. I'm going to kick it off with a poll question. Maybe I can launch this poll, Heather. So I'm just wondering what questions you have kicking it off here. You can just answer if you wouldn't mind. What is your question? What is Listeria? Have you heard of it before? What's the focus on coolers? What's the fix? Or do you have other questions? If you do have other questions, go ahead and put them in chat and I'll try to answer them after the presentation. So I should have known that that would be the biggest question is what's the fix, which we will definitely get to between me and Chris and Andy at UVM. All right, let me end the poll and share the results. So you can see most of you folks are wondering how to solve it. So we will definitely cover that. And you'll learn really interesting things about Listeria. Unfortunately, we have to think of it at all. And why coolers are the place that loves to live the best. Okay, so let me, so what we're going to cover tonight, what I'm going to cover in this part of the presentation is Listeria monocytogenes. What is it and how does it get there into the farm environment and into the processing environment? How is it uniquely dangerous in coolers? How does it get on produce? How can you reduce the risk of contamination by Listeria? And I'm going to show you a standard sanitation operating procedure from the FDA that might help you in planning how you can do things on your farm to reduce risk. So Listeria monocytogenes was also known as, if you see articles about it, you might see it called L monocytogenes or LM. It's a bacteria found in moist environments, soil, and decaying vegetation. And what it does, if you eat enough of it, you may get listeriosis. That's the name of the foodborne illness. So Listeria is both the same and different from other bad bacteria you may have heard of. So we'll talk about how it's the same. It's the same in that it's been linked to recent outbreaks with fresh produce. It's the same in that it's widely distributed in soil, manure, and water. It's the same as other bad bacteria in that it can produce biofilms, which enhance its ability to not get taken care of by just regular cleaning. A biofilm is a buildup of bacteria. If you don't know, many of you already know what a biofilm is, but if you don't, it's a slimy buildup of bacteria that has established itself on a surface or in a crevice or a crack. And it creates a protective barrier. So think of the slimy coating on your pet's water dish. If it hasn't been cleaned for a while, that's a biofilm. So listeriosis can cause fever and diarrhea like other foodborne germs, but this type of Listeria infection is rarely diagnosed. So that's how it's the same as other bacteria. It's different in that outbreaks of listeriosis associated with fresh produce are generally traced to the produce handling and processing environments and not the growing environment. So what that means is that when there's an outbreak and they trace it to the certain kind of produce and then they trace back, like where did that come from, they find Listeria in the wash pack shed or other places in the processing environment. They don't have to go all the way back to the field. That means it came in from the field into the processing environment. So Listeria monocytogenes is also different because it can survive and grow on some acidic fruits, like fresh cut apples. Most bacteria cannot survive in acidic conditions or can't grow. It's also different because unlike other human pathogens, Listeria can grow at temperatures colder than 40. So 40, 41 is what's recommended for refrigerators, at home refrigerators. But Listeria can grow as cold as 32 degrees. So other bacteria, most other pathogens that we worry about stop growing at least at 40, but not Listeria. So the other way it's different is then people that get listeriosis are generally in one of these three groups: pregnant women, older adults, or people with weakened immunity. So others, not in this group, may get Listeria, may have a couple of mild side effects, but people who are in these groups, like for example, a pregnant woman will lose her pregnancy. Older adults and people with weakened immunity can get very sick or die. Listeria has been found in all these things that are on the farm, right? Compost, harvesting equipment, pack sheds, truck tires, cooling units, so forth. So why does Listeria love coolers? The reason is Listeria needs moisture to grow. It can reproduce any place that remains wet for an extended period, and especially where water is constantly present. So where's that on the farm? Right? It's most likely to be established in areas that are not only wet, but also relatively undisturbed. So if you want Listeria to grow somewhere, have a wet area that's relatively undisturbed, and that's where it likes to grow and form those biofilms. So again, most other harmful bacteria stop growing at refrigerator temperatures, but this is a chart about the different pathogens that we're familiar with, like E. coli and Salmonella, Shigella. Most of those stop growing by 40 degrees. Well, that's close to 40. But see, by 40 degrees, most of these bacteria we're familiar with stop growing. Look at Listeria. 31.3 is when it finally stops growing. So coolers don't have an effect on its ability to keep growing, unlike other bad bacteria. Right, so Listeria laughs at the cold and keeps growing, which is why we're especially worried about it in coolers. So how does it get on produce? It can contaminate fresh produce if it's present in the growing environment, so soil, water, manure, and then transfers trace to animals and people, their movement and their activities, right? So this is something to be aware of. It can also get on produce because of inadequate or ineffective sanitation practices. If they're not really thorough and really scrubbing to get rid of those biofilms, you can find Listeria biofilms in floor drains, conveyor rollers, and dump tanks. In these moist environments, LM can form those biofilms. That's a matrix that they build up over time, and it protects bacteria from routine cleaning practices. So regular detergent and water, and even regular sanitation practices may leave the biofilm unharmed. You really have to scrub and get the cleaner and the sanitizer into where the biofilm might be harboring. All right, so periodically these biofilms break open, release bacteria to contaminate a seemingly clean surface. So for example, that might be like a table that has maybe cracks in it, that or crevices that are cleaned and sanitized, but not really scrubbed in the cracks. And so a biofilm is there, and you cleaned it, you sanitized it, and all of a sudden the biofilm breaks open and you didn't realize it, but it's contaminating the clean surface. Okay, so before we get into the fix, I just want to ask you what food safety practices are already in place on your farm. So let me just launch a little poll, because I know farmers do a lot around food safety, and customers certainly appreciate it. So if you could just go ahead and click on the things, you can pick as many as you do, the things you're already doing on your farm: personal hygiene and hand washing, staff training, cleaning and sanitizing the cooler floor using SOPs, cleaning your bins, water testing, other food safety steps. Again, if you put those in chat, we'll take a look at those. So mostly everyone is doing personal hygiene, hand wash, staff training, which is really important around not moving Listeria into the processing area, but for other bacteria too. About half of you have a cleaning and sanitizing SOP for the floors, yay. Bin cleaning protocols, 86%, that's fantastic. Water testing to make sure you're cleaning your produce with clean water, that's fantastic. And other food safety steps, we'll have to take a look in chat. Maybe Heather can look at those and ask me at the end.
Yeah, it says regular sanitation of all harvest equipment and wash pack surfaces.
I didn't hear the beginning of that, Heather.
It says regular sanitation of all harvest equipment and wash pack surfaces.
Oh, super. Okay, great. So you're doing, a lot of you are doing a lot of the things that are going to keep Listeria in check already, which is great. You might pick up a few more things in the rest of this presentation. So, so what can you do to reduce the risk of contamination by Listeria? Of course, ensure cooling units are functioning properly, inspect them regularly, document temperatures and cleanliness. Although Listeria, of course, can grow even at cooler temperatures, you still want to make, documenting the temperatures, you don't want them to grow even more by getting it even warmer in there by accident. I'm sure you're already doing this, making sure the coolers are working, and also documenting the cleanliness, making sure things are cleaned and sanitized and scrubbed regularly. Monitor the cooling units to make sure they're not dripping or forming condensation within the cooler. Again, Listeria loves moisture and condensation. And like someone just is already doing, cleaning and sanitizing harvest equipment and tools. Again, this is a step to keep from bringing Listeria from outside to inside. Reviewing and managing field worker practices, such as not handling or walking through decaying vegetable matter or compost, then working directly in a post-harvest handling area. So these are things you already are doing. Again, bins and totes should be washed and scrubbed, rinsed and sanitized regularly to remove soil, plant debris, decaying materials, and disrupt and remove those biofilms. Again, other ways to reduce risk: regular cleaning and sanitizing of the areas that are easy for LM to establish harborage in. So floors, cracks and crevices, drains, wet insulation, rubber seals around doors, regular squeegeeing of the standing water in the cooler. Also, this goes without saying, but just I'm going to say it, cleaning and sanitizing floors and floor drains in a manner that prevents contamination of other surfaces in the room. So of course that means being mindful of where that water is going, not using a high pressure hose to clean, because that can splash any kind of, that can disrupt the biofilm and spread it elsewhere if it's a high pressure hose. The other thing you might not have thought of, or maybe you have, but this is kind of important, is maintaining and cleaning and sanitizing as needed the cleaning equipment. So if you're using brushes and mops, floor scrubbers, shop vacs, you want, after you use them to clean and sanitize, you want to clean and sanitize them. Because if you have a mop, say, and you mopped up all the water, then you put it aside, that is full of whatever bacteria you're working on. Generally, in this case, it's going to be Listeria, and it's going to just grow there and live there and then get back on the floor when you re-mop. So you want to have a practice, a SOP to clean the things you're cleaning with. Okay, so there is a template you can work off of. Maybe you already have one in place to help reduce the risk of LM for cleaning your floor in the cooler. So let me stop sharing screen and get that up for you. Oh, not there. Hang on. I think I lost it. Hang on, I've got to find it. One moment, please. Sorry.
Can I help?
I'm just looking for, I had it, oh, there it is. I had it and then I must have closed it and I'm ready to share again. So I'm sharing the screen now. And there, oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. So this is from the FDA, adapted from their paper, Control of Listeria, Monocytogenes, and Ready-to-Eat Foods, Guidance for Industry. So here's an idea of an SOP. Many of you already have them, but you want to specify the frequency of cleaning, how often you're going to clean the cooler, type and concentration of cleaning compounds and sanitizers, right? You want to spell that out. Type of cleaning tools to be used, how long you're going to leave it, and is there a special temperature it needs to be if you're cleaning and sanitizing solutions. Of course, follow the label instructions. And then they suggest these steps for cleaning. And also cleaning is followed by sanitizing if you're working to get rid of Listeria or prevent Listeria. So start by dry cleaning with brushes and scrapers, get the heavy soil and debris up from the floor. Pre-rinse and scrub equipment or floors to remove the visible soils, then rinse the floor. Mostly we're talking about floors here, but these same steps could be used for other equipment. Soap and scour, apply foam cleaner to ensure adequate coverage, scrub. Scrubbing is the key here. Well, soap and scrubbing and sanitizer, but just washing it, letting it flow, letting soapy water flow on something is not going to get rid of biofilms. You need to scrub. So with that soap, and that's going to help to break up any biofilms. Clean drains using appropriate tools. Again, not high pressure anything. Post rinse, rinsing the floor is really important. Rinsing it really well because the detergent cleaner can interfere with the action of the sanitizer you're going to put on next. Then take a look at any standing water or condensation that may be left. Visually inspect the floor for cleaning effectiveness, correct any deficiencies, like if there's any pooling of water, get rid of those, and then sanitize, following sanitizer label instructions. Specifying the tools to be used, and what they don't have on here, but I would add, is then clean and sanitize the tools that you used, so you're not reinfecting everything. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the slide presentation. And also this link, I posted this link in the chat at the very beginning of the show. If you don't see it, put it in chat and I'll post it again. Also in chat, I posted these two SOPs on, not SOPs, two blog posts on cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting because sanitizing and disinfecting are two different things. It's important that you know the difference, because people are going crazy with disinfecting, which is something you wouldn't normally do on food contact surfaces. Okay, so just wrapping it up, your customers, I'm sure you know, are thinking of food safety more than ever before, between outbreaks in other parts of the country, once in a while here, and COVID, even though it's not a food-related problem. People are thinking of food safety a lot. So you have the power to build on your market reputation, which is huge because local food is so even more important than ever before right now, by letting your customers know the food safety precautions you take. So, and I always use superheroes when I'm talking about farmers, because, oh my gosh, you are certainly superheroes, working so hard to feed us, plus dealing with all the bacteria and new things that you have to deal with. So thank you. I pulled out some key resources, and again, I posted this in chat too, right at the top of the chat. So if it's not there, let me know and I'll repost it. So this is a study from Cornell assessing the costs and returns of on-farm food safety improvements. They found that there actually was a return for doing more farm food safety stuff. From UConn, what is Listeria? Why is it showing up in fresh produce? These are just things to give you a deeper understanding if you're interested in more. It's from 2016, but it's very pertinent. And then from the University of California, guidelines for controlling LM in small to medium scale packing and fresh cut operations. So now I think, I don't know, Heather, you tell me, do I have time for any questions?
Sure, go ahead. If anybody has any questions, just unmute yourself.
I have an unfinished plywood floor in my cooler. Should I like urethane that, or, you know, I've even heard like cutting blocks that are wood almost have an antibacterial element to them. Is that total nonsense?
Well, actually, my understanding is bamboo cutting boards do have a little bit of antibacterial benefit, but I'm not sure I would recommend a wood floor. And you know what, I have to let the experts, and I want to let the experts from UVM, I'm sure they're gonna address materials that are best. So I'm sure Chris and Andy will be talking about that.
We'll talk about it for sure.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Mary,
Yeah.
this is Vicki Smith. How is everybody?
Oh, good. Hi, Vicki.
I just want to throw this question out there. On those plastic floating straps that are in the cooler doors, where we've seen them be covered with black and some other dirt during our produce safety inspections, do you think that Listeria is harboring on those plastic extensions, or could harbor?
Yeah, are you talking about the like the wind car wash kind of flappy things that?
Yes.
Well, you know, it could be. If on the inside it's moist, on the inside of the cooler, if that's wet and moist, and if the bottom of those are moist, if there's moisture, there could be definitely Listeria.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And other things could be harboring there too that you don't want on your produce. So keeping those, scrubbing those periodically would be a really good preventative measure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the question is, has Listeria monocytogenes been confirmed on any New Hampshire farms recently?
I'm not aware of that, but I'm also pretty sure that no one's testing for it, which is fine, because I mean, I think better at this point, it's better to be doing preventative measures to lower the risk of it and to prevent it from harboring in your pack shed and your processing area.
I have a question. So I have fiber reinforced plastic in my cooler. It's that white beady looking thing. My concern would be if you scrubbed it with like an abrasive, you might actually create places for bacteria to grow. But so would you just scrub it like with a soft cloth? Or?
Yeah, you could scrub. You're thinking of a hard bristle brush, but there are other scrubbing tools that wouldn't. They're made out of like silicone, so they have bristles made out of silicone which could scrub it. And a cloth, a good cloth with its elbow grease that would help to break that up. Yeah, it just can't be like it needs physical disruption. But you're right. I wouldn't want to scratch up something that's easily scratchable. But like I said, the cloth or the silicone tools could do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I have a quick question.
Great.
In a reefer truck unit that gets below, well below 32 degrees, does it kill Listeria at that?
No, it doesn't kill it. Freezing doesn't kill any bacteria, but it does
Goes dormant,
goes dormant, yeah.
but it could still live under those temperatures.
It would just be in sort of suspended animation, and when it warms up again, it would, as soon as it got up to, what was it, 31.3, 32, it would be able to grow again.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yes. If your cooler gets dried out during the off season, does that eliminate the Listeria?
That is a great question, and I'm not sure I know the answer to that off the top of my head. You know what? I'll research it. I'll figure. I know heat kills Listeria, right? So cooking temperatures would kill it. Drying it out, I'm not positive. So I will find out and put it in chat.
Brian, this is Chris Callan. I really appreciate you bringing that up. It's something I'm going to highlight because it is something I highly recommend if you do an annual cleaning, for example, or have an off season. Getting the cooler to be completely dried out is absolutely a best practice because you're removing that moisture that Mary talked about as being important for harborage.
Okay, well, I think that almost makes a perfect segue from Mary's presentation. Thank you very much, Mary. Over to Chris and Andy, and then hopefully we'll have more time at the end for more questions if folks think of anything else.